Hey y'all, welcome back to Two Fat Girls. It's me, Mandy, and today was my dreaded doctor's appointment. So I thought I would just do a little sit down chitty chat vlog. Um, my appointment was at 2, but I actually didn't get to see the doctor until like after 3. Like I guess she had a patient that took longer than what she thought it would, and then blah blah blah. And so basically, I sat back there for like 45 minutes. And somebody who is going in there for anxiety and is already nervous and have to sit back there for that long, like I thought I was legit gonna lose my mind. And Tiffany was texting me for a while, but then my phone died. So it was like I was just sitting back there in silence and I was trying not to go to sleep, and it was crazy. But luckily, I did get to talk to Tiff for a while, so it kind of made me feel a little bit better. And I was telling her about how, like, I went in there and, like, everybody was like, oh my gosh, I love your hair, and blah, blah, blah. And Tiff was like, she's like, I don't know. She's like, maybe you look too good to be this sick. She's like, maybe you should have went to the doctor with no lips on, because she's like, when you don't have your lipstick on, you look like death. And I was like, maybe. I'm like, maybe they're not gonna believe me. And then she was like, I was telling her that, like, I didn't eat all day long because number one, I knew that if I ate, that I was going to hurl, because like one of my things is like when I get really really nervous I puke, and I didn't want to puke before I went. And so she's like, well, just hold it all in, and that way when the doctor gets in, she's like, you can have anxiety pukes in the sink, and then they'll be like, oh my god, she is way sick. And I'm like, shut up. So she was like cracking me up, and she was making me feel better. um and I was like a little mad at her because she told me, she's like, if you get a doctor's appointment like this, she's like, I'll go with you. But she had to work, so she didn't get to come. So I did get to talk to her for a while. Um, I will say the doctor is like hella nice, and she's like my age, so she was like really easy to talk to. And then she was asking me, like where I cut hair at, and I was telling her, she's like, oh, my husband goes in there. Great. Your husband's gonna come in there and think I'm crazy now. And she's like, she's like, have you always had like rainbow hair? And I was like, pretty much. And she's like, I'm gonna ask him if he's seen you in there before. The good thing is there's 2 shops that I work that where I work, there's 2 of them in the area that I work at. So maybe he doesn't come into mine. Maybe he comes in the other one. I don't know. But then she was telling me about that, and we were like kind of laughing, and she was like asking me about my symptoms, and I had written them all down, but telling her was actually better than like me. Like I got the paper out, but then I just started talking, and then she just never asked for the paper. And I was telling her about all my symptoms. She's asking me if anybody else in my family has symptoms like this. I'm like, my whole family, my whole family. And then she was asking me if I've ever, been on anything and blah, blah. And I'm like, no. And I was telling her I've had it since I was little. But it kind of got better, but it just seems like after, like, the older I got, the worse it got. And then like the past couple of years, it's just gotten horribly worse. And I was telling her about like my weight loss and my weight gain, and she's like, well, you definitely have anxiety just from the symptoms you've described to me. And then she's like, there's some underlying depression in there, and she's like, there's some OCD in there, and blah blah blah. And so she did prescribe me Zoloft, a really, really low dose, is what she said. I haven't taken any yet. She said to take it because she said it can make you nauseous. And she said to take it at night with your dinner. And she's like, give it 2 weeks. And if you don't feel like it has helped you a lot, she's like, just call. And she's like, I have no problem giving you a higher dose, and then I wouldn't have to come in, which sounded fabulous. And she said, you really won't notice anything for like 4 weeks. Um, but she said up to 12 weeks, you can start feeling a lot better. And she says then after that, it just kind of like evens out. Like, it just evens out. And so she's like, just try that first and see how it goes. Um, she was like hella nice. She was just really, really nice. And I was telling her about like my weight loss and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, um, I was telling her about doing Weight Watchers and everything else. And so now I have to go for like a million different labs. They're going to check my thyroid and stuff because I told her, I did fabulous on Weight Watchers. And I said, I'm not going to lie. I kind of half-assed do it now. I'm not as dedicated as I was, but I'm like, I go walking, I still go to the gym. Um, and she's like, well, let's check your labs. And she's like, because sometimes iron and like B12 and something else, can like, go in with that. And then I was telling her, at one point I was put on phentermine. And, I just basically told her everything because it's my first time seeing her. And, she was just like, is there anything else? Is there anything else? And I'm like, my only other health problem is my back. And we talked about my back for a little bit. And, she said she had no problem giving me a referral or me coming back if my back pain has gotten any worse because, as you guys know, like, I jacked it up Wednesday. But usually what happens is I will do something to aggravate it and it'll hurt, like, really, really bad. And, like, my hip will pop out. But then as long as I, like, I like just stay seated or I just don't do much that day, it'll usually kind of like taper off and it'll feel better. And it just kind of gets better on its own. Um, and, she said, if you still have back pain, she's like, there's the epidurals, blah, blah, blah. But she's like, let's try and get this first thing taken care of. And she said, sometimes that can make everything a whole lot better, which I can definitely believe that because I think anxiety and depression will definitely affect your sleep patterns because I was telling her, I can't sleep for shit. And, that'll all like definitely affect your weight and everything like that. And it seems like, I'm not saying that this is the truth, but it seems like about 2 or 3 years ago, I was doing really, really fabulous. And then it got really, really bad. And that was when, like, my anxiety was kicking in really bad and where I started feeling depressed and just, like, all kinds of other stuff. And that's when I started gaining my weight back. And she was like, okay, blah, blah, blah. Um, so yeah, all in all, I really, really like this doctor. She's really cool. I feel more comfortable going to a female doctor too. And especially since she's just, she's like my age and stuff. I just feel like, cause like, y'all know I have a potty mouth. So like, and like my emotions like trigger it more. So I was in there like cussing and shit and she didn't say anything, which what can she say? But I mean, she was like laughing and stuff, but it's my jam. I love this song. Pretty in Pink, y'all. With Spader in his little white suit with his little bow tie, like not tied, and like all that long, fluffy, gorgeous, flowing hair. I may have to watch that later. But all in all, I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off of me just because I have been dreading this all week long and then I go and it wasn't even that big of a deal. But we all know that like that's the bitch of anxiety. Like anxiety just like put you in for like the worst thing, because she even told me, she's like, once you start this, she's like, other things will start getting better, because she's like, then you're gonna leave your house and you're not gonna be thinking of all the million different things that can go wrong when you leave your house, and it makes sense. I mean, when you're worried about everyone and everything and every situation and you think of every freaking possible thing that can go wrong, then you are not you're not living your life to the fullest. And I know that I haven't been. I've never lived my life to the fullest, but I have my moments where it's fabulous. And now I feel like, okay, Mandy, this can get better. You can do better. I feel like I just feel like overall in a great mood. Like I felt like utter shit. It probably didn't help that I didn't eat though either. But I didn't eat because I was scared I was gonna puke it up. Plus I knew I was gonna get weighed and I was like, son of a bitch. And I weighed myself before I went to the doctor and I weighed 3 pounds more on their scale than I did mine, which I'm like, that's because I have 3 pounds worth of clothes on, because when I usually weigh myself, it's in the buff, y'all. In the buff. And I was like, it's because I got all these clothes on. I know that's why. But the one thing I will say, and when I went in there and they took my blood pressure, it was high. And she's like, do you usually have high blood pressure? And I'm like, no. But ever since I was little, like, my blood pressure would always go up when I was nervous. And I told her that. So then, like, before the doctor came in, another nurse came in and she checked my blood pressure and she didn't say anything. And then the doctor didn't say anything. So I'm sure it was fine. It probably went down. It probably just because I was like super nervous. So I was like hella nervous. But everybody in there was just like really nice. And like, you know, I had like one bad experience with a horrible, evil minion of a doctor. So ever since then, I have always like compared all doctors to him. And I think that's another reason I just get like so worked up about going. And now they're going to take all my blood. They want all my blood for like a million labs. And then when I went to check out and that nurse was like, okay, here are your labs. And she starts printing up. She's like, ooh, that's a lot of labs. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so weird. I'm going to die. They're going to take all my blood. But yeah, so that's how it went. A lot better than I thought it was. I'll have like another sit down chit chat and talk about it again. I don't go back to the doctor again until the 21st. She wanted to see me in a month. So there's that. And yeah, overall, I just feel a whole lot better. Like even my back feels better if that makes, if that is even logical. Um, I just feel so much better just having gone. And it wasn't like the shit storm that I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought they were going to like lock me up and then, you know, make me see like this crazy therapist and tell him my life story and like all kinds of stuff. So it wasn't near as bad. So, okay, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.